Dads, welcome to the Stress Dad to Calm Dad lunch and learn sessions. You're in, right? So this is a little bit of a introductory video, a little bit of like pre-training, let's just say, to set you up for next week so we can really hit the ground running on Monday and we don't have to do any preamble and all that kind of stuff. You know, we know where we are and let's just go for it. So that's kind of what this short session is going to be. And it's going to be just a short video, so I don't want to use up too much of your time. You know, let's save that for next week, right? So look, you're already in. And just as a reminder, all you've got to do, 12 o'clock each day next week, just go into the relevant section, the relevant module, day one. They're pretty clearly labeled. You go in and then I will magically go live and the session will start. And I can't see you, okay? You're not on camera. It's just me on camera. So don't worry about what you're wearing or what's behind you or anything like that. Just stick your headphones in and focus. It's just me. You can comment then. I'm looking forward to all the comments. You know, but if I don't get to all the comments during the session, because I'm going to give you as much value as I can in those 30 minutes, then don't worry. I will catch up afterwards. I will check every comment. I will respond. You know, but please just keep that engagement through, because the more engaged you are, the more likely you're not only going to remember what we cover, but you're more likely to put it into place. And that's what this is all about. Not here just to kind of just listen and learn. This is about, right, what can you do differently? And whether you do everything we talk about next week or you just pick one or two things, everything will make a massive difference. So rock up with that kind of attitude, you know, with the attitude that this is going to help. Yeah, don't go, well, I'm not quite sure about this. I'll give it a try. I'll give it a go. Just come in and go, you know what? He's got experience. He's got 25 years experience. There's going to be something that is relevant here, right? I guarantee there's going to be more than just something. Just come in knowing that you're going to learn something that's going to help you right now and in the future. This isn't about putting a sticky plaster over things. It's definitely not about that. It's about setting you up for success now and in the future. So come with that attitude, lots of pens and paper, write lots of notes, comment during, comment afterwards, all those enlightening moments. Let's make this a great event, you know, where we're interacting and we're supporting each other. So that's next week. And I guess a little bit of, you know, background. I'm not going to go through my story and all that kind of stuff, but just want to give you a little sense of, you know, why I'm doing this. So that you kind of know me beforehand. Now, if you're already in, chances are I've already resonated. But look, I know that some of you are business owners and some of you work in corporate, you know, are managers in corporate. So I know that. And, you know, which is good because that's what it was aimed at, right? I got the wonderful privilege of knowing what both of those worlds look like. So as a business owner, I know full well that we go through cycles of stuff where we start doubting ourselves, right? And we get a little stressed, we get a bit frustrated, we get frustrated by how much progress we're not making, or we're making too much progress, or we look at everything and we go, oh my God, I got into business for this. This is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to serve. This is the impact I want to make. I did not get into it to be the finance department, the IT department, the sales department, the marketing department, the HR department, the facilities department. I didn't get into business for that. And then we could just go, right? You know what I'm talking about. As a business owner, you know what I'm talking about. And it can get a bit overwhelming. You know, the trick is, well, how long do you stay in that state? Because some people, you know, a blip, cool. Usually it's a blip because they've got tools or support around them to help them get out. It's kind of why I'm doing next week. But some people, it lasts days, weeks, months, even years. I've worked with so many clients where they are on the brink of giving it all up just because they're just so overwhelmed in that moment. And what they're trying to do, and this is really important for next week, what they're trying to do is manage everything. So they've got all the pieces and they're trying to manage them all, right? Like a juggler as well, you know, you're just trying to juggle all the balls and keep them up in the air. Well, that's not my approach. I don't want you managing anything, and I don't want you coping with anything either. This isn't about stress coping strategies or work management strategies. It's not about that. I want you to be the leader, the owner of your work, your professional life and your personal life. So as a business owner, we can get pretty overwhelmed. But I also know that in the corporate world, I spent 20 years in financial services. working my way up the ladder. I was, ultimately responsible for millions of clients, billions of pounds worth of investments, pensions, profits. I experienced during those 20 years every aspect of stress there is, right from that low level niggling stress that just eats away at you, makes you a little bit on edge, a little bit rushed, through to really high stress and you think, ugh. And of course, what happens is that doesn't just stay as stress, it builds into things like severe depression, generalized anxiety disorder, insomnia, liver disease, burnout. I had 2 of those because the universe said, you haven't learned your lesson the first time. There's more to come, Martin. It gave me a second one. And not just, I'm tired and stressed, burnout. It's not that. I'm talking full on burnout where your body and mind start shutting down and you have no control over it. One of the scariest things that can happen to you. And worse. I got through burnout, but then the self-harm happened. Then the wanting to end my life happened. I don't want to get morbid, but the reason I'm so passionate about helping anyone, but especially my fellow dads, the reason I'm so passionate about helping you is I know where this leads. I know where low-level stress leads when we don't deal with it and we go, oh, we're just going to soldier on and just cope and, just like my dad before me, stiff upper lip and, let's just carry on regardless. Just keep working harder and longer and you will get there. It doesn't work, and it never really worked. It certainly doesn't work in the 21st century, right? So this is kind of why I want to help you. So I know what both environments are like. In financial services, I restructure every 6 to 18 months. Trust me, that's a stressful environment. Plus all the regulation. You're fearful of losing your job at any moment. Back in the day, you used to have a job for life. Well, that went a long time ago. So there's a lot of stresses upon us. And so, I really want to help you. And because the biggest thing, when I was reflecting on this, personally, as a man, as a person, I suffered, and I don't want you to suffer. But the biggest impact was on my family, on my partner, on my wife, our relationship, and the relationship with my kids, and the quality of time I didn't spend with my kids because I was stressed and frustrated or angry. And I don't want that for you. You don't need that in your life, because what I discovered through all of this, and it's wrong that I should have to have burnt out and gone through everything that I went through to then discover this stuff. But it seems to be the par for the course. It's like it's not taught in school or university, college or business. You need to fall over before you get all the tools and the knowledge and the wisdom from other people that say, oh, no, this is how to look at life. This is how to look at yourself. This is how to look at business. This is how you get balance in life. Well, wouldn't that be useful before we fell over? That's why I'm doing this, because I don't want you to get to that point. So I'm just bringing it all forward, right? And I know there's an army of us out there trying to change the education system to make sure this stuff is talked about at a far earlier stage. And what I discovered is really simple stuff. I reflected on my own journey and I went, well, what made the difference? How did I get out of that? What were the things that really worked? And then, once I was out of that, I then went and saw the most successful people on the planet. Literally, I spent time with the most successful people on the planet. I went, how are they doing it? How are you doing it? I've got people that have got, like myself, one job, a family, completely stressed, completely overwhelmed, can't handle myself, my health is suffering, my relationships are suffering, and as a result, just working harder and longer. How do you do it when you're responsible for 70 companies? How can you possibly be responsible for 70 companies, one of my mentors, and be completely healthy and have great relationships with your wife and your kids? How is that even possible? Well, I went and learned that stuff. And then I put it together with what I know. I put it into practice. Everything I teach, I coach, I mentor, I talk about, I put into practice and learned it myself. So I bring all this together and I go, it's simple stuff. And some of it, I tell you, next week, it's going to be like teaching you to suck eggs. And you're going to go, really? Really, Martin? That's it? Are you sure? And then I'll give you a little bit more evidence, a little bit more science behind it. I'll give you the research behind it. And then I'll ask you a question. So you know this. Are you doing it? There's a big difference between knowing something and doing it. And sometimes we just need the motivation to do it. And when we got a little bit more clarity, a bit more purpose, and we kind of know why and how we're going to do it, well, that gives us that. So we're gonna play around with some of this stuff next week. And what I created out of all of this, I'm bringing it all together, 25 years experience, plus everything I've learned from the decades of experience from incredibly successful people. I brought it all together and I created what I call the work leadership model. And I'm not going to really talk a lot about it next week, so we're going to just get into the nuts and bolts. But this is kind of, hopefully this can help you kind of visualize what this is all about. I call it the work leadership model. And this is about people that are suffering from work stress. And ultimately, the ultimate purpose of this is to bring you balance back into your life, which is what you want. Not just work balance, I'm talking about life balance. You know, there's a lot of people talk about work-life balance. That's been a thing for years. Well, here's a little heads up. If you're talking about work-life balance, you are automatically thinking that work is not part of your life. You're already kind of at odds. Oh, I've got this work thing, and then I've got the life thing. I'm more excited about the life thing, and this is getting in my way. Or sometimes it's the other way around. But if you're talking about work-life balance, no. We're talking life balance. Work is just one of at least 12 areas of life that you're trying to balance. But the trouble, most of us, especially stressed dads, are spending way too much time, like 90% of our time, doing the work thing and not looking after everything else. So I kind of created this model, this work leadership model, and it works a little bit like an iceberg. So at the top, above the surface, you've either got stress or you've got calm. Oh, that rings a bell. Stress dad, calm dad. And stress is a code word for stress, overwhelm, anxiety, worry, self-doubt, lacking confidence, all that kind of stuff, right? Which is what we can feel. And then the calm dad aspect, the calm part is, calm, but that's as a result of being more confident, being clearer, being more purposeful, having that sense of control. That's what that is all about. So that's above the surface. But it's what's below the surface that dictates whether you're swaying towards one or the other. And here's the four things that out of everything, all that experience, all that knowledge and wisdom, this is where I've then categorized this and gone, these are the key areas that make a difference. And they're the areas that we're going to cover next week. So the first one is mindset. I know some of you are like, oh God, mindset, it's fluffy stuff. Just tell me what to do, Martin. You've got to start with mindset. If you're in the mindset of working harder and longer, I can give you all the tools in the world and you still ain't going to use them. You're going to go, I ain't got time for that. I got to work harder and longer. I'm just going to give you a very simple shift and it will rock your world just like it rocked mine. So you've got to get the mindset right. And then when you've got that, you're going to look at your workload differently. The second element is workload. How do you look at that? Do you look at the 800 things to do and go, or do you go, focusing on that? This is the difference between managing and coping and being the leader. Owning your career, owning your professional life, owning your personal life. It is about being the leader. You don't need to be a CEO to be a leader. This is a mindset thing. It's what you think and how you do it. That's leadership. Your family needs leadership from you. You can apply what we learn next week to all aspects of life. So you're going to look at your workload and instead of going, you're going to go that. But of course you need to know what questions to ask to make sure that you know what it is you're going to focus on and whether that is the right thing to focus on. So that's what we're going to cover. And then the third element of it is time. Because once you're kind of looking in the right direction, you think about things in a different direction, and then you're looking at your workload differently, you're then going to want to master your time. You're going to want to focus your time better so that, you're reaping the benefits of the mindset and the workload. So we're just going to focus some time on that. And then ultimately, you're just looking at your daily habits, because what your days are made up of your daily habits, and they create either stress or the calm. They're a big part of it, but you've got to do it on a regular basis. You can't do this stuff just once and then expect it to work and everything's fixed. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in fitness or well-being. It doesn't work like that with money or in business. And it doesn't work with it when it's talking stress. So we're going to just look at some simple habits. And one of the ones that I really love, there's lots of habits that we could cover. We can't cover them all. But one of the ones I love the most is about how you put your family first in the morning. Because I'm willing to bet if you're here, you very often you don't think you're putting your family first. You want to, but you don't because you're working harder and you're longer and stressing and all that kind of stuff. There's just some really simple stuff to put your family first, which means you set every day off like that. I tell you, it makes a hell of a difference. No matter what happens for the rest of the day, at least you're safe in the knowledge that you put yourself and your family first. Man, what a game changer. So those are the 4 areas. Those are the 4 areas underneath the waterline in your iceberg. And we bring it home next week on Friday with the compound effect, because basically it's the compound effect of all these things working together. They're all linked. One links into the next. But it's the compound effect. If you do 1 or 2 of these things, they will make a difference. Absolutely. And together they make a bigger difference than the sum of their parts. That's the compound effect of all of this. And by doing this, you're able to then, no matter what happens with people or the environment, you're able to deal with it better, both at work and outside of work, when you look at life like this. So that's the model, that's the concept, that's the philosophy that I'll be sharing next week. That's why we very specifically go through mindset, workload, time, habits, and compound effect. It is all part of this work leadership model to help you not manage, not cope, but be the leader in your life. So this is what we're going to share. I hope that's been helpful, just to give you that context. And I can't wait to get started. I'm really looking forward to showing up 12 o'clock UK time Monday for our first session. Be there. If you can't be there, remember there's going to be replays. The replays sometimes take a little time because it's not instant on this platform, but they will be available within 24 hours. So you can always catch up. I can't wait, guys. In the meantime, have a good weekend and see you on Monday.